guys did it, but I'm glad you did. That was a big statement to become the reddest state in America and to have every county support the Republican ticket. You guys are smarter than the rest of the country, I'm afraid. You saw something I don't think the rest of the nation saw. You see, we didn't, as a nation, know President Obama very well. He didn't have a track record. He'd never run anything before, never been a leader of any kind before, and never worked in the private sector. And yet the country said, well, we'll just really give him a chance. He seems to be a smart guy. He spoke eloquently about bringing America together. He said a lot of impressive things. And so America overall said, okay, we'll give him a chance. And there were some people, like right here in Oklahoma, that said, well, now wait a second, what would happen if you chose as the president someone who had no experience? Now we know. Now I thought I'd tell you a story I told this morning as I was just in this room. We had a group of folks that came together, and I told them about my early days and my parents' tradition. And I don't know why I was reminded of it, except perhaps being in a place of history like this. My mom and dad had a bunch of grandkids, about 25 grandkids. And when they get a group of them, that they'd be age of 12, 13, 14, they'd take them and put them in their Ford van and drive for 30 straight days across the country. Can you imagine doing that with, pre-teenagers? And my mom would fill a cooler full of egg salad sandwiches. My kids said they still can't look at egg salad. and they'd drive from national park to national park. And they were showing my kids the beauty of America. They wanted them to see the national parks, the mountains, the canyons, the rivers, the oceans, the sequoias, and so forth. They wanted my kids to fall in love with America. And I knew they were also indoctrinating my kids. They wanted my kids to understand something about the character of the American spirit, the people who had crafted this country, built this country. You see, I knew this because I'd been on this trip myself with my parents when I was little. Although we went around in a Rambler, all right? And we drove from state to state, and between stops at the national parks, my mom or dad would read to us from a book called Men to Match My Mountains. And this was a book that told stories of the settling of America, the women and the men that took risk and built this great country. And I was mentioning, by the way, that story to a fellow the other day. I was at an event like this, and he stood up after I was finished, and he said, Mitt, do you know where the name of that book was taken from? Men to Match My Mountains. I said, no, I didn't know it was taken from something. He said it was taken from a poem written by someone named Samuel Foss in the 1800s. He proceeded to recite the poem. Unprepared, he recited this poem. I was amazed. And it goes like this. I've learned the first 4 lines. Even I can learn 4 lines of a poem. And it's relevant. I'll tell you why. It said this: bring me men to match my mountains. Bring me men to match my plains. Men with empires in their purpose. And new eras in their brains. This would be a nation crafted by people with empires in their purpose. Not conquering other nations, of course, but empires of discovery and innovation, building enterprises, discoveries, and the new eras that would be changing the world. The founders got it off to the right start. They had this extraordinary idea that changed America and the world. And that was that instead of the king or the government being sovereign, the citizen would be sovereign. And that political freedom they joined with another freedom, economic freedom. They said we would be free to choose not just who represented us in government, but free to choose our course in life. And by virtue of those 2 freedoms, this became the place every pioneer in the world wanted to come. Every innovator came here, if they could, and built this extraordinary country, which is now the strongest nation in the history of the earth. I love America. I love the spirit of America. I love the freedoms of America. And what concerns me today is I watch President Obama and the people around him and this political class that has grown up in Washington, D.C. I see people who don't understand America, who don't understand what makes us the great nation that we are. And that's why this president is going to be a one-term president. the economy. And I have. If you want to create jobs, it helps to have had a job. And so, and I have. And I want to use that experience to get America working again. This president's done it all wrong. He's done the one thing business can't deal with and entrepreneurs can't deal with. He's created more uncertainty. Business can deal with bad news. Banks will loan if they understand the future, but if they don't know the future for themselves or the people they're lending to, they won't lend. And if they won't lend, then entrepreneurs can't start businesses. And you don't see the kind of growth in this country, in part because the president's created so much uncertainty with Obamacare, with Dodd-Frank, with cap and trade efforts, with card check efforts, with the NLRB telling Boeing they can't build a factory where in a right-to-work state. They've got it all wrong. They've created uncertainty. We want certainty that believes in and will support American values and ideals, and I do, and I will get that done.